All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we are unpacking a really practical 5-level framework from Misha Bohans. So, have you ever wondered why so many B2B consultants hit this frustrating $10,000 a month ceiling and just get completely stuck there? Well, it turns out there's a very specific architecture you need to build to break through to $50,000 months, and we're going to discover exactly what that is together.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the business growth ceiling, then move into fixing your strategy, figure out how to build bulletproof proof, unlock business leverage, and finally, look at the exact math of outreach.
Starting right off at level 1, the business growth ceiling. It is time for a paradigm shift.
To get past that initial revenue ceiling, you really have to undergo a massive mindset shift. You need a strict financial goal. And I absolutely love how the source illustrates this. It's baking pies versus building the bakery. You see, you've got to stop obsessing over the recipe of baking pies, which, is your day-to-day value delivery, and actually start building the factory that scales it. Because think about it, if you're constantly peering into the oven yourself, you're never going to own a chain of bakeries.
Now, this might be a tough pill to swallow, but the data completely backs it up. Across over 1,000 sales calls, they found a super strong correlation between people who are just totally in love with their craft and relatively low revenue levels. It's crazy. But to become a true business owner, you literally have to transition from a pure pie baker into a pie bakery owner. And you do that by setting a strict financial output goal.
Moving right along to level 2, fixing your strategy, specifically the strategic basics. If your strategic basics are flawed, honestly, they're going to act like a ball and chain on your growth. So here are the absolute non-negotiables. First, target businesses where a $10,000 to $50,000 lifetime value is actually possible. Simply put, don't sell to broke people. Second, sell quantifiable painkillers, not just nice-to-have vitamins. Third, copy what is already proven in the market, rather than reinventing the wheel. And finally, ensure your total addressable market has at least 10,000 entities, because if your market is too small, you're going to cap out before you even get started.
Just to expand on that a bit, you really must steer clear of unverifiable services, things like broad strategy or confidence coaching. Instead, focus entirely on objective ROI. Can you explicitly prove that you cut costs, increased revenue, or boosted retention? Services that actively make clients money, those are practically recession-proof.
Okay, level 3, building bulletproof proof. We call this the 10X foundation.
Once that strategic ball and chain is finally gone, you need undeniable market validation. And that means an absolute minimum of 10 publicly verifiable success stories. But here's the catch. They have to be in one extremely narrow lane. A win in cost-cutting and then a win in Facebook ads, that doesn't cut it. You need 10 identical, highly specific victories to make your competency truly bulletproof. So the workflow to get this proof is a very lean, focused sequence. Target a specific narrow niche. Use proactive outreach to land those first clients, and then work relentlessly to deliver the promised ROI. Actually, don't even worry about maximizing your profit margins just yet. Just get the result. Finally, secure that testimonial. You want their real name, their title, and quantified results. And to really maximize trust, especially with corporate clients, make sure to create video in professional style for these success stories. It really makes a huge difference.
Which brings us to level 4, unlocking business leverage. It's time to automate and delegate.
With cash sacked up from your lean proof building phase, everything changes. Now you can systematically introduce leverage so you aren't stuck working crazy 80-hour weeks. Just looking at this hiring timeline, you might start by outsourcing low-value lead generation in year 1. Then, as you scale, you bring on a content editor, an operations person, and eventually a high-value client success manager to handle those day-to-day interactions.
As you delegate these tasks, notice the huge wage spread. You might start out paying, say, $7 an hour for basic data entry, and eventually move up to $30 or $50 an hour for client management. And yeah, while your profit margins might dip slightly per client, your overall net profit volume just explodes. Why? Because you just bought back your own time to bring in more business.
And finally, level 5, the math of outreach. Welcome to predictable scaling. This is where you reach the apex, because you now have all this leverage handling the tedious work like list building and initial messaging. The math reveals something amazing. It takes only about 7 hours of your highly leveraged personal time to acquire a brand new client. Your only role now is final personalization and having the actual sales conversations.
But what's genuinely surprising here is the cost constraint. Those 7 hours of your work, They're paired with a financial acquisition cost of just $500 to $700 spent on those delegated outreach resources.
I mean, really think about that math. That incredibly low acquisition cost yields a client with a lifetime value of $10,000 to $20,000. Paying roughly $600 and dedicating just 7 hours of your time to make up to $20,000, that is an absolutely spectacular return on investment.
This predictable funnel really proves that hitting 50K months isn't magic, it's just math. Out of 300 prospects approached weekly, you typically get a 2% call booking rate, which is 6 calls. 5 of those actually show up, and with a pretty standard 20% close rate, boom, one becomes a high-ticket client. With your new leverage, running 300 prospects through this exact funnel every single week just becomes your standard operating procedure.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a hard look at where you currently sit on this lattice. Are you lacking a strict financial goal? Are you selling unproven vitamins instead of actual painkillers? Or maybe you just haven't gathered those 10 bulletproof case studies yet. Ask yourself right now, what is the single biggest bottleneck keeping you from stepping out of the kitchen and into the role of a true bakery owner today? Find it, fix it, and let's start scaling.